9 of Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. Come be live every weeknight at midnight Eastern and talk about guns. I'm guessing this microphone is doing okay because I can see rings on my little thingy here, but if there's any issues with the mic, let me know. I didn't invite anybody today because I was almost asleep when I started the show. That's probably why I'm a little bit late. Oh, snap, I'm almost a half an hour late. But I figured I'd go live, see if more people show up than don't. And if more people show up than don't, we'll just talk about something or do something here. So I'm in the middle of a fairly big project, and this show keeps me coming up for air, right? Right, thanks for the heads up on that. Because right now, you know, you're all experiencing what it's like to work from home. Well, a lot of people are experiencing what it's like to work from home. And stuff like this, the show gives you something when I've got nothing else to do. This gives me something to put on the schedule. And let's see, so there's not a lot of things to do right now. We are getting ready to do something here in a bit. Has anybody got any plans out there? Or ideas for what to chat about tonight? Or anything else? So I've had quite a few ideas actually, but I don't write them down. And I figure, oh, I'll remember. And then I don't remember, especially once I'm live. Something probably called live amnesia or something. There's probably some fancy name for it where everything you think you're going to remember, you don't remember when you actually are talking. That's probably all it is. But if I had somebody in here that I could think for a second instead of just talking, I'd remember some of those things. If you're correctly, at one point, you said that the fabric for speaker boxes is really good for patch panels. Yeah, and in fact, if you don't care about the edges being ripped, I'll sell you chunks of it. But yeah, I use the carpet from speaker cabinets, or I guess it's what you would use like on one of them pieces of cat gym equipment or cat furniture or whatever you want to call the things that you buy for a cat to climb around on. They're made out of that really thin fabric or that really thin carpet. I mean, it's definitely carpet still, but it's almost a little bit thicker than regular, you know, the side of Velcro, because it's really that thin a carpet. I think people put it on their deck sometimes, but I wouldn't do that. It's so thin, it would probably wear out faster than a rug or something would. In fact, it would wear out faster than most just rugs you'd throw down. So I don't know where you'd put that. I guess, and I don't think it's what you put on a boat, because the stuff you put on a boat is more made out of like plastic or something, because it gets wet all the time. The stuff isn't really made to get wet all the time. But it is made in Georgia, and you can buy it at Home Depot. It's not like I buy it somewhere special. I just go down the carpet aisle at Home Depot, and it's the cheapest stuff. It's like, well, whatever the cheapest stuff is there, it's that stuff. $5 chunk or however much it comes in. So I bought a bunch of it, and then the machine that I use to fiddle with the edges so that the edges don't fray, that machine broke. Otherwise, I've got a ton of it sitting here. Well, I have probably $86 worth of it sitting here in like 3 different colors. But yeah, you can use that. You can use felt, but felt will fall apart basically. It gets like loose after a while. It's like a rubber band. At the beginning, it's great and tight. It's like elastic. It's great at the beginning, and then it loses it. You start to use the felt, and then it gets frayed, and then it just loses its stiffness or its body or whatever that word is. All right, so anybody got any topics from what's chatting out there? I don't think anybody's corking me right now. At least YouTube's not working if it is. But I haven't been watching nothing. I've just been working on this project, and it's all 2A history stuff. So anything I've got to talk about is going to be stuff from the 2A history project, and that's boring to just talk about. So I guess maybe it will be a short show. It's only been 5 minutes, so I don't know. I guess I'll give it a minute here. If anybody, only 9 people showing up. I don't know. None of you all want to join in. So I don't really feel like starting something. So I might jump back into part of this. It's sort of weird too, because if I knew what I was doing, like what my goal was, then it'd be easy to accomplish pieces of it. But my goal is pretty big. So right now I'm just gathering pieces sort of haphazardly. They're all fitting into place, but there's not a lot of rhyme or reason to it because I need so much stuff to accumulate so much stuff. But at some point, I do need to take a second and look at my stuff that I've got on the pile here. What colors? All the colors that Home Depot has. So there's tan, there's a green, and a blue, I think. They might make a black, and I didn't bother with it, I don't think. Or maybe I did. They're not in front of me. I don't know. They're in the other room. But I think they made them in 3 or 4 colors. Actually, I think they make them in 3 colors on the roll. And then did I get black? There's some color that you can buy in a pre-cut piece. And I wanted to buy that just to see if it's the same. And it may be just quite a bit, like a little bit different, but basically the same. But they make it in that sort of the colors that you've once you see the colors, you'll know that you've seen it before. You ever shot a Kalashnikov KS-12? No. I had 12 gauge AKs. I don't like them. They were neat to play with, but like to fiddle with. But you can get that. You can accomplish that at a gun shop or something. I wouldn't buy one again. I was happy to get rid of them. They were big and obnoxious in the safe because they're not little. They're large guns, and they only hold 8 rounds or something stupid. The large magazines cost a lot, and they're finicky mags to begin with. They're not strong or durable mags. They barely work, so they're not anything you'd use for any like actual purpose. And even if you did, it'd be the most ineffective thing. You're carrying around 5 or 6 rounds, thing that's the size of a 500 rounds of 223. Seriously, like it's a giant thing. Maybe not 500 rounds, but it's hundreds of rounds of 223 in physical size, and you're carrying around like 8 rounds of shotgun, which is like the least effective, scatter gun. I'm not a big fan. Like I say, I owned one for a minute only because I traded for them. I got them in trade for doing work for people, and thought I was going to like them, but got rid of them. And the only reason I even owned them is because they had modern furniture. They looked like modern AKs from Russia. They had that, I don't know what to call it, that black furniture with the grooves in it and stuff. You couldn't get that on AKs here, so. Guess you didn't get my email? Night Strike sent me an email? I don't think I looked at my email. Or maybe I did look at my email. What the fuck was that? The hell fell out of me? Some plastic part fell out of me. Oh, you mean to go to your show? You had some kind of a show today? Oh, testing out the chamber? Let's go test out the chamber. This is some new chamber over here?
Yeah, I'm gonna start the chamber.
What's so new about it? What's so different?
Okay. Click. You see the little eye at the bottom right?
Oh, yeah.
Calling feature now. It works.
Oh, so next you're going to come up with a fax machine feature? Who the fuck cares about a text feature or pager? Now you can use it for selling drugs. Hey, if you page me at 1-876-4860, we're going to drive somebody up with your bag of business.
Yeah, no.
Or you could run numbers. We could run numbers. Who wants 485? 485.
No, that's not what that means.
How was I watching? I was watching something where some guy and he comes in and I'm like, what the hell was that? I'm like, oh crap, that guy's running numbers. That I thought you were gonna do something good, like have the thing like the duck where I can come over here and grab somebody's comment, like pink or whatever, and go boom. What's up?
No, this is what it does. It allows for somebody to call in
Oh, now you're on your telephone only?
without having to use the internet.
All right. Well, here's the deal.
Yeah.
So
I'm on my Google Voice number.
it's not broadcasting
I need
your
to know
number.
that.
Do you need the PIN? Is that part of it? Really?
You use the phone number and the PIN, and if you don't dial the PIN, you won't be able to get into the Hangout.
Dude, that's like the most complicated thing in the world. Can you make a longer pin? Is there any way to make it so that only Terminators can? And you need that little number sign also?
Yes, you got to use the number sign also at the end.
Holy crap. Well, no, this guarantees that's the phone number. So I posted the phone number if anybody wants to use it. And good luck. Here's the thing. So if you can memorize that pin and somehow cram that into your phone, then you can dial into this.
Yeah.
So this is like I can
day,
remember.
Every time a hangout happens, as soon as everyone leaves the room, the pin is killed. So it's auto generator.
Okay, well, make it auto generate a 3-digit pin. 9-digit pin is ridiculous. Back in the day, we would go to
I didn't generate it.
Yeah, no, but you can. It's on a toggle or something that you can tell it to do a less long pin. All right.
I haven't tried to do that yet. I'll look into it.
So anyway, it reminds me of when I was a youngin', and the 800 numbers. You would have like some 800 number, and then you could use pins to get like minutes or something. Anyway, I can remember those things would have big ass long codes like that. All right, well, so yeah, apparently I had a big lighter somehow stuck on me, and that's what fell on the floor earlier. So if anybody wants to dial the 1-843-867-4860, so 1-843-867-4860, and then use the code 807-033-432 #, then you can log in and chat like a human. What do I got to do over here? I need to undo that.
There you go.
All right, so Chris is pointing at things, and Dead Horse has got the 7th thumb out there. Appreciate that. Thanks for the thumb. And thought it looked cool. Didn't know anything about them. Yeah, they look neat. Like I say, the plastic furniture was cool. It was basically the Century Series furniture with, 12 gauge underneath it, but it's just not a platform. It looks good on the wall. If your goal is to have a wall full of guns that look neat, it's got a great profile, and the mags are long and they look cool, but fragile. And then it's the gas thing is huge. Like, it's really complicated. It all fits into an AK. It's a little bit bigger still, but if you've ever seen one taken apart, the dust sheet cover is sort of 2 parts, and the gas rod is weird. It's sort of like a pogo stick or like an antenna or something. It's like a shock absorber, I guess. It's just odd to be able to get around a big ass bolt. And then I don't think it's so much that it needs all that much like extra power. I don't think 12 gauge is even more powerful than 7.62. I just think that it's awkward trying to fit all that, delicate trying to fit it all into it's definitely cumbersome. It's, I would say, an awkward design. Like, an AK is it's an efficient design. It's like, it's not necessarily refined or anything, but it's certainly simple and efficient, but it's not awkward. I don't think anybody's going to say there's anything forced in an AK. It's pretty efficient. It's not pretty or nothing, but it works. It doesn't do anything super extra, but those shotguns do extra, and that takes away from being an AK to me. It's like they didn't make that gun to be a 12 gauge. They figured out how to shove a 12 gauge in there, and people buy it. So anyway, then of course you can't put a bayonet on it. So with that, I'll quit bitching about them. Now, my friend had a Tromix in Tulsa, outside of Tulsa. This guy named Tromix would he's the guy that kind of figured out how to take a Saiga 12 and chop the barrel off, and then retool the gas system, tune it up so that it still works, and still works without basically scooping up all the plastic wad and filling up the gas tube, because that's sort of a trick when you got a 12 gauge with a big gas hole. Physically doing it in a way that doesn't eat wad, because otherwise you fill your gas tube with wad and your semi-auto doesn't work very well. So anyway, he figured out how to do all that, and his little short, they look like crinks, but they're 12 gauges. Those were pretty neat. I had a friend that bought first an SBS version, and then like I guess they're both SBSs, but one was like a fixed stock version, and then one was like a little folding stock crank thing, and it was a lot of fun to shoot, but still pointless gun to own 8 rounds or something. That was an engineer guy I knew that just bought guns because he had nothing else to do. He could literally buy whatever he wanted. He had just discretionary money to spend, so he bought one. I think the gas system is overly complicated to allow for all the down. Oh, is that what it is? That might be why too. That it looks like a pogo stick or whatever. That could be. I never thought about that. I never put too much thought into it. I did like it. It was neat, and I'm not saying they're bad made. They're neat, but you could definitely appreciate it. Now I don't know what they cost. I got it for trade, so like you could say I got it for free. I didn't. I mean, I worked for it, but I never put out money for it. I don't think I'd have the same opinion. I'd probably like it a lot less if I ever had to put out money for one, because I think they're like $1,200. If they were a $400 gun, I'd like them. But I don't think they're that cheap. Anyway, so that's a gun question. Nobody's taking you up on your phone number thing. Nobody's got pagers or whatever they need to do that.
It's not a pager; they just need a cell phone or a phone.
Nobody's got a regular phone anymore.
I guess not.
Heard anything about outages anywhere?
Internet outages.
Yeah, well, it's, platform outages. I mean,
Not so much.
internet's just if somebody runs into a pole, you can lose internet, but platforms during heavy traffic use can get wailed on. And if everybody's getting high traffic use, then there's no backup servers because you've got so much in-house backup, and then you start to rent some from Amazon or something. But if they're using it, they've already sold it, then you're screwed.
Right. I have heard that YouTube is having problems where they're cutting down the bandwidth in certain areas.
Where'd you hear that?
Well, apparently over in Europe, if you're in Europe, you can only watch YouTube videos at 480p.
Oh, so you heard it like a throttling, not a
Yeah,
censoring, not a
Not
blackout,
censoring.
not like a blackout, but more like we can't get everybody, so everybody gets a little.
Yeah, they're throttling the bandwidth that people are using over there because everybody's at home.
That would make sense. Now I keep hearing radio ads for everything except for whatever the hell I have, but every other phone service in town or in the nation maybe, is giving everybody like unlimited hours and time. But yeah, giving them unlimited bandwidth, right? Giving them unlimited, bandwidth is one thing, but the throughput, like how fast that bandwidth is a different factor. And they didn't say they're going to give everybody high speed unlimited. They just said they're going to give everybody unlimited.
Right.
Oh, and then Wood's got a point. He's saying most of the teachers are hogging up a bunch of bandwidth for them kids. Them kids are out there. Probably them kids are on one computer or one video game system playing the video games, or maybe more than one. I don't know how kids play video games these days. And then they also got their school teacher on another one. So they're probably running, twice as much as they would normally run. The teachers are running twice as much as they normally run. Teachers probably playing video games against the kids, don't even know it. How often do you think teachers are playing against their own students on those video games?
Probably pretty often, but probably most in the evening, I'd say, where everybody's off.
I bet you it happens all the time. And y'all don't talk to each other and be like, "Hey, I'm so and so from, the Midwest, or I'm so and so from whatever, Tallahassee or something." Like nobody says that. You just say like, "I'm meme lord from your mama," and then you start killing each other. So yeah, I'll bet you often there's that kind of stuff going on. You see somebody in an elevator, give them a stink eye or whatever. A little while later, killing each other with Thompsons.
Sincere is asking, what is a gun peak chamber?
I'm looking for that comment so that I can click on it. Oh, way down here. Oh, there's a lag. So the tube is, take a look. So this is screen sharing. Be careful because I'm going to show you what a real monitor looks like. Boom, this is all one monitor right now you're looking at. So I'm going to click it. So that's taking up your whole screen now. That's not two monitors. This is one monitor with two whole windows on it. So on this side, we're looking
man.
at the chamber. It does that. On that side, we're looking at the chamber. Now I got to figure out this side, we're looking at El Pato. So El Pato is from Canada, and there's 3 people up in Canada that whittled this together out of moose poop, and it works or whatever. And the thing I like about it is I can click on your name over here, and it'll say
Yeah.
stuff on the screen, right? Because Night Strike can't figure that out. He does not. It's beyond his abilities. So then he
Yes,
did
dude.
build GunTube, which is this thing over here. So then inside a GunTube, like an extra feature, extra whipped cream on top, or like a chocolate slurry on top, is the chamber. And that's signified with this little chamber symbol right here. And this allows you to either send this link out. Like I could send this link. If I would click enter right now, you would all be able to join the chamber, but we don't want regular people in here. So you can also go down here, take this phone number, copy the phone number out here. You all know how a phone number works because that's easy. Everybody's used a phone number before. But then you get this complicated code. So good luck. You got to figure out how to put this code into your computer, into your phone, I guess. And then you would be able to join this to chamber with a telephone, like a pager. Like back in the day, if someone were to fax you something, and then you were like, oh, let me make a ditto copy of this, and then semaphore this off to the next guy. And then that would be like this right.
You can use a smartphone or a normal flip phone or a landline phone. Those are still possible.
Yeah, if I were to give out this link, which I didn't do, but if I were to give out the real link to the URL, I would recommend clicking on that in your phone and then going at the top there and saying display as a desktop. It makes it easier for me at least.
So, but thank you for jumping in and helping, Gene.
Yeah, thanks for making a place that people can do this kind of stuff. I know you're working on it all the time or whatever, but it's a secret over here. Memo on emergency. Oh, what's this all about? So this has an internal chat thing. It has a polite feature over here. So there's only 2 of us in here, but if there was a bunch of us in here, it would start looking like a Brady Bunch screen and then a Connect 4 after a little while. And then you can say, hey, I'm interested in saying something, but not like a crazy, chaotic free-for-all like a Matt Never Have Ammo chat, where you have to verbally stab somebody to get a word in endwise. And over here, you can use this little, except in the age of Corona, this isn't like a Biden touching person. It's got an open palm, like you're waving without touching with an appropriate social distance. You're saying, you're alerting the others, hey, I'd like to say something without having to go, which might make everyone think you got the bug.
You don't want to piss off Honda or Rage Eye.
Let's see. No, it's not complicated. We're just saying a bunch of words. So truth about guns. SAF, Second Amendment Foundation, started in 1974. No, yeah, four, I think, as the educational side of the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep Bear Arms, which was started in 71, both by Alan Gottlieb. So this is their probably press release or whatever that went out. This is when, from today, April 1st.
Yeah, it was from today. It's just Budget Guns and Gear was in here earlier, and I was, he asked for a topic to talk about. Sent this one because it's from one of his favorite groups, Everytown and Bluebird.
According to the memo, Everytown objects to lawsuits filed by Second Amendment Foundation and others to protect retail firearm stores as essential businesses on grounds that gun rights groups are seeking for Second Amendment rights to become super rights, receiving a level of protection no other constitutional right enjoys. Super rights. That's their angle, is to come up with new angles. Like they have to come up with different angles of attack or what. So
Someone needs to throw a dictionary at these people.
No, I like it. We got Second Amendment gets to be a super right. And I have news for them. Second Amendment founder and executive vice president Alan Gottlieb Second Amendment foundation is a super right. Oh, look at that. And that's why it's our bill. That's why it's in our Bill of Rights. It protects all the other rights. The Everytown memo argues against gun stores being singled out for special treatment and to be allowed to remain open in the face of the severe public health crisis in this country has faced. Oh, the most severe health crisis this country has faced in over 100 years is legally flawed and should be rejected in the courts. So that's Everytown is saying that since this is a public health crisis, what are they saying? The idea that the stores can remain open is legally flawed. I guess that's how they said it. I didn't read it good. The only thing flawed here is Everytown's memo. Gottlieb observed constitutional rights are not subject to public health crisis. Our rights are enshrined in the Constitution to protect them from just this sort of political treachery disguised as legal research. This memo is totally biased and one-sided and further proof that they know we are winning this battle. Let's see. I'll read the whole thing. Like I said, is the whole thing. For the past 2 weeks, SAF and other groups have been waging successful legal battles in several states to prevent or reverse gun shop closures and defend those important local businesses as essential during national emergencies, including pandemics such as a coronavirus outbreak. We've been winning, Gottlieb said, which means they're losing. People rush to gun stores, many for the first time. Everytown wants to stop that by shutting these shops down. Closing gun stores won't cure the coronavirus, and they know it, but Everytown can convince people it's okay to suspend Second Amendment during an emergency. They'll try to erase it entirely the next time we face a crisis. We will not allow that to happen. Thank you. So that's pretty awesome. So yeah, that's a good article. It's a good synopsis. It's basically a press release that they're sending out, but I think it's important that we at least be aware that we're being told to lay down and shut up. And, you know, you can say, okay, here's all the reasons and justifications for obliging that, but acknowledge that you're laying down and you're shutting the fuck up. And, you know, whatever, like whatever. I'm not saying you got to do nothing about it, but it's definitely insightful that these fuckers are going to try to do whatever they normally do. Just they're definitely not calming down in this amount this time, and that's what they're trying to do is just nibble away by suggesting that gun shops are too dangerous to be open. If they would have won any of these arguments and closed gun shops, they could have then used that to further cloud the water, right, or muddy the truth and go, oh, luckily we closed these gun shops. There would have been problems. So now it's up to us. It's our ball to lose, right? If we don't rub their face in it, so to speak, or make them never forget that just like the Koreans stopped the riots in LA, when the riots that couldn't be stopped by the National Guard or the police or the media or anybody else, they were stopped by the presence of firearms, not by a firefight, not by some sort of interaction or any kind of lethal force even. Just the threat of legal force, the awareness that rifles on buildings outnumber any number of people on streets. And that gave people pause and time to clear their heads, and the whatever it does that feeds a mob was dissipated, it went away. So, good stuff to think about, especially in this show. All right, so I'm going to go over here, and that's the phone number, 1-843-867-4860. So 1-843-867-4860 or 1-843-867-4860. And if you call that number, then you can remember 807-033-432 #. No, we can. Maybe have that tattooed on you. That is going to be different for each live stream, but if you tattoo it, what you can do is before you tattoo the next number,
Phone number will stay the same.
Scratch out. Well, you don't need to change that. There's no reason to tattoo the phone number because it's going to stay the same. But when that PIN number is going to be different once you tattoo that on there. Once you go to tattoo the second. No. Once you go to tattoo the second PIN number on your arm or leg or wherever you're putting it, just scratch out, have a tattoo scratch out the first PIN number. And then each time you do it, just scratch out the one before. And that'll be a great way to keep track of what PIN number you need to text or page the live chat here. Oops. Let's see. A little complicated. So let's look for something less complicated. I think we're just screwing around. It's not really that complicated. You click on this link, you send this link to people, and you chat with each other. That's all you really have to do.
Same thing with StreamYard.
No, StreamYard's actually a pain in the butt. You got I can send this link to people, but then they're going to show up in this green area over here, right? And then I got to click on them like I did here. And if I don't do it right, then they get shit canned. And you got to remember which one of these you're looking at. Over here, you got one private chat. Oops. You got one private chat. You got the politeness hand wave thing. You got the Brady Bunch thing, which you don't have control over here as an individual. Only the person who's running the thing. And it's kind of
got it set to that.
No, it's kind of clunky though. If I set it to this, you can't set yours to Brady Bunch. Over here, you can be doing whatever you want, and I can set mine to Brady Bunch. Or not.
Right.
So in that respects, this one, the El Pato, is El Shito, because it's from Canada and they're used to being communists, so they don't think that people want to be able to control their own destiny on their screen. And they put mute right in the middle of the screen. Let's see if I mute. That would be, it's like, let's say somebody was doing something awesome right in the middle of the screen. If you're muted, you don't see nothing except the reminder that you're muted. You intentionally muted yourself, but they're going to remind you right in the middle of the screen that you're muted. Only a Canadian would do that. Only a Canadian. We get our gun stores back. Go TOF. Go TOF. Maybe he's trying to say golf. GOALF. Golf. Aloha. The islands. So we must not be getting too much of internet's cut off if we got the islands connected to us still. Let's see, a couple of California gun stores remain open. Yeah, I don't even know how to deal with California because it's such a large state. You know, what's happening in one end of the state versus the other end, or one city versus another. It's probably a lot of stuff happening in California. But the last I heard was that the state told them close, and then all the cities were saying no. At least, is that how I understand it? Is that correct? Like
That's how I got it.
The city of Los Angeles was like, no, you can stay open. But the state was like, no, you got to close. Michigan didn't specifically list them as essential in the beginning, but many stayed open, and now the rest are reopening with the recent announcements. Now, the NSSF went out there and is taking credit for doing it. Like, have you looked at their Instagram at all? Do you follow them on the Instagrams? So, NSSF, I guess. So they're going around and being like, we're saying stuff. Emphasize the industry's commitment. Oh, no, that's not it. Is it this? The NSSF is working hard during this national crisis to put a distressed American flag at the top of the thing. Oh, no. They're saying national crisis to make sure that our members are allowed to stay in business. Allowed to stay in business. Providing safety and security for Americans and crucial products for members of law enforcement and military communities. This includes an effort to inform the Department of Homeland Security on the essential nature of our firearm ammunition manufacturers, all of which should be explicitly listed as part of our nation's critical infrastructure. On the state front, our team is working in each state and many localities to ensure industry and critical role and not hampered in any well-intended executive orders seeking to spread the virus and blah, blah, blah. Right, I'm not going to read the whole thing. So my thing is, this is okay, kind of, except that they put in here this part. Allowed to stay in business. So F you. Like, not prohibited. I like that wording because I don't like to suggest that we are accepting that we're allowed to stay in business. We will accept that we're not prohibited, but we're being prohibited. We're not being allowed. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. And then it says, and critical products for members of the law enforcement and military communities. Well, guess what? Military don't buy nothing at a gun store, period. I mean, maybe an individual does and they're in the military, but the military ain't buying nothing at a gun store. And law enforcement isn't the time to buy stuff at the gun store. Like, they don't get to buy stuff right now. I mean, I guess if they need it, run in and grab a thing you need. But the police department, sheriff's department, they should already have their stuff. They shouldn't be going to the gun store and complaining that there's not enough 9mm, right? Like, they should already have their stuff. They get all accepted to every single freaking rule, says except for military law enforcement. and they got budgets. Like that's their job. Like they shouldn't need anything from a gun shop. So I don't like that the NSSF even brings up law enforcement and military personally. And what I certainly don't like, definitely don't like, is that somewhere I seen, I don't even
Just
remember where I
first
seen
flag.
it. I don't know where I seen it, but there was a gun prohibitionist. What the hell was it? I'd seen it. I had to read it, so I must have been on. I don't think it was Instagram, but maybe it was. Because I don't go to Facebook or nothing. But anyway, I read something where a gun prohibitionist was suggesting that, oh yeah, gun shops should be open, but only for military and police. Like only if the military needs them. Like we need the gun shops for military and police. And I was thinking, damn, they're on our side, but only because they're so stupid that they think that if the police officer runs out of bullets, he runs to a gun shop to get more ammo for his clip. You know what I mean? Like they're just not smart. And I think they don't understand what gun shops are. If they think that police officers go to gun shops, like they think that there's guns like there are milk, you know, like there's pretty much just milk and then you just buy it from different factories, but you know, it's all milk. It comes from different cows, but it's milk, right? They think guns are just guns. Like, oh yeah, you guys keep track of which ones they are, but they're just guns. So you just run into a store, you buy your gun in your 9mm size, and then you run out of your store. Like you don't, you know, they don't think that we really pay that much attention to what we're doing here. I suspect. So I don't like that NSSF is playing into that. But what do you think of this? NSSF donated $25,000 to this hospital in Newtown. So, I mean, obviously they didn't throw the money away. They didn't burn it in a fire. But that's $25,000. Like I pay $25 a year. So that's 1,000 people like me paying $25 to the NSSF to be a member. And they just gave that to one hospital. I mean, I'm not super complaining, but I'm like, don't I give that $25 hoping that they're going to be working on 2A? And especially in a time like this, I'm all about them doing these kind of things. Like, you know, do your thing or whatever. But seriously, $25,000 to a hospital in Connecticut? A hospital in Connecticut don't got money? They need $25,000 from 2A? From, you know, we only have one industry 2A organization. I don't love everything NSSF does. Am I crazy? Am I nitpicking there? Who jumped in here? Oh, Gizzard.
I think Gizzard has
Do you know
tried
why?
to-
Because he still has a pager. He was able to use it.
Oh. Here, is that true? Because caller ID was working. It says it's Gary Decker. Oh. I was wondering if you could hear me talk too. I've been on here for a minute or two.
Yeah, I've just been ranting, but we've seen you in here. You're in here and it just says GD. So, yeah.
If you mouse over him, it shows his full name.
Yeah, I'm not saying it. Like, I'm not going to, since I'm screen sharing, I'm not trying to do that. But yeah, I was letting them
Also,
know.
I show up on the screen too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but now, is it possible to, how do you do a phone call like in the Jetsons where you make your phone into a thing? Is that a thing you can do on a phone call or is that just on like this? Is it just for, like he can't just click on his camera now is what I'm saying. He's just on a phone call. He doesn't have like a screen
No,
or
he's just on a
anything.
call. Voice only. We can do this at work on our Microsoft Teams conferences and stuff like that. We can dial in if we don't have a device with the software on it. We can have a dial-in number that we can do. So yeah, this is pretty cool.
And you can just hear it the rest of the time. You're not listening on a computer.
It's nice and clear too.
Huh.
So right now, what I've got GunTube Chamber set up to where it can take a conference can take two simultaneous calls. In the future, I'd like to be able to handle more.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm
Two.
just testing with this.
I need at least 30. You're talking about two secretaries, two like two scribes to keep track of stuff, but I need at least 30 connections.
Bear with me. We're only in beta testing, all right? But I got this working this evening, so
There
I'm
used to
happy
be-
it's working. So
Back when the western headquarters of AOL was in Tucson, there was this building that you couldn't go into unless you were authorized, so no one could go in there except for those of us that were authorized. And that was like any nerd show you've ever seen where there's like only the nerds can go behind this door and then so they can do anything they want back there. It was kind of like that. It was pretty neat. And when you said beta testing, it made me think like when I first went in there, first started like figuring out where I could go in that building and where I couldn't. I went down to the beta thing and I couldn't handle beta. That's beyond me. Like I don't have the technical teeth to do beta, but those guys did. And they would have machine and AOL is a place like you could say, I needed this, you could say you could spec a machine and you could just get it, right? If you needed it for something, especially guys in beta, because they were, I need this to do this. And they wouldn't question. They would just give them that machine. So anyway, they had a bunch of old machines just sitting there running all different kinds of little scams and shit, that like a website that would just click and make, some more money each time it clicked or whatever. But anyway, it made me think of the beta team where they just had a bunch of machines down there just making money. In the olden days of the internet.
The old days, back when AOL Instant Messenger was a thing.
That was the equivalent of like in MASH, how they had a still going because they took a bunch of their stuff from the ER and just made a still in their tent. As like the equivalent of that. Like nobody knew it was happening and really cared. It was just happening.
Oh, hey, I can hear you guys. Hello. Who's here?
Hey, Sin, how's it going?
So you just called that
Doing
number.
well. How you doing?
So what happens? You call that number and then you got to open up like a book and then start typing in that code for a while.
Oh, yeah, you just put in the code and then hit the pound sign, and I just heard you guys talking.
Now, does it automatically charge their phone, Night Strike, or does it just come up on their phone bill, or how does the charge work?
Well, I don't know. You'll have to ask with their provider.
It shouldn't charge nothing. I'm just kidding. It should just be a phone.
I'm paying for an unlimited service. So I'm not getting charged minutes. So.
Well, this is a prepaid burner phone, so good luck with that.
All right. Well, that's how we're going to play it.
You could host two on the phone, so I'd jump on and would max it out and see if it could handle it.
So if you jump in, and if we can get somebody else to jump in, and we can see, how it works with two people.
How many people have you had in it?
Where's the other guy that was just?
I've only had one person at a time so far, but it can have another person a year. So if somebody else wants to call and help us test this stuff out, please use the number that I posted out there on the YouTube side and the PIN number.
Gary was in here before, but he was connected with a pager that had heavy duty batteries in it, so they wore out.
Yeah, there's Gary.
If you know how to use a telephone, it's real easy to do this.
Every town has lawyers. What?
You lost me with all that clicking, but this I can do.
Yeah, and actually, this would be pretty good for like some sort of trivia, tactical quiz type of thing, right? Just throw the thing out there. There's no way to turn off the pin. Can you turn off the pin?
Cannot turn off the pin, but if anybody jumps in and doesn't leave, you can kick them out as the moderator.
Oh, okay, so if you use the other line
call.
open, you could like answer the question, and then if the person didn't know how, well, they could hang up their phone. I guess all you have to do is hang up their phone, right? It's not like you have to click end or anything. You just hang up your phone.
They can just hang up the phone, and it ends the call. So they jump out.
All right, so now we got LJ in here.
LJ in here.
Is
Other
that
person.
a computer or the phone? Is LJ on the computer or the phone?
I'm guessing
On the phone.
phone because y'all are coming in just as blue circles with letters on them instead of icons and all that like the rest of us. Computers.
What letters did it give me?
You're WC and then LJ.
Oh, on Water Closet? Great.
Wireless caller is what you came up as. So
Yeah.
caller ID, I guess.
Wireless? Yeah, that makes sense on myself.
So I guess it's just coming up with the caller IDs.
Yeah, it's just pulling up caller ID. Whatever your number pulls up as, it'll show as that. Like I used my Google Voice number earlier, and it came up as Houston, Texas.
Yeah, as I say, it came up as just some generic.
Generic city and state.
All right. Yeah, I was looking to see what was going on the screen. I was interested in how that was going to work.
Yeah, and it works.
LJ, can you hear us?
They're not muted. Oh, they
Might
are
not be
muted.
working for him.
No, it is muted. Everybody's muted. I get. Anyway. No, we all have that little
No,
icon.
I'm muted.
Oh no! What that just shows that you're not playing. You're not. That's not muted. That's the you don't have your camera on, Sunville. So we all have that. So they're not muted, LJ. They're just not saying anything.
If he is saying something and it's not working, the fix is to hang up the phone and call again, and it'll work after that. Sometimes it runs a little fast.
And that's the scam. It's like $2 for the first minute, 99 cents each additional minute, but then you make them recall.
No, it is not. Lord.
Oh, it was garbled. Can you call back in again? Oh, it's still garbled. Can you call back in again? I still need to buy another hot dog. Can you call back in again?
All right.
Let's give it another shot, and then
So, LJ, can you?
It almost sounds like there's something, right? But not a microphone on. Oh yeah, we heard something like testing, right? Oh, is that John?
Yo, what up?
It's just super, super quiet, but we got you. Oh, you know why? If it's John, it could be just his area is probably really hit with carrier right now.
It's slow.
Oh, there you go. Well, we'll mansplain that. We'll figure this out.
better.
Oh yeah, that's 1,000% better. Yeah.
John.
So how is it up there? Is it you're still alive? I'm guessing, or are we talking to a zombie? I have seen some obviously it's a compilation. I don't think any individual got it, but I've seen some whatever you want to call it, like where you just take your phone or your camera and you go from left to right, kind of pan or whatever that's called, of all kinds of places like New York downtown and like bridges, like just tons. Everything looks like that movie with Will Smith.
Well, the videos, Brooklyn,
Oh, okay.
where people are still going out having parties, getting together. I mean, and this is as of
So, in other words, like the business downtown where the business gets done or where the tourists are, that stuff's quiet because those people don't need to be there and they're not there. But like the regular shopping areas and stuff.
are coming out.
You
from
mean
under
like
the-
parties and like intentionally just saying
Yeah.
screw it, we're getting together? Well, oftentimes when I've been to parties in the past, they'll even exclaim, throw your hands in the air as if you don't care. That was like a while ago. Do you guys all hear when I mute like that?
No.
I thought that was like weeks ago that people were talking about.
Another full-fledged spring break.
Oh,
And they posted it on their Instagrams and stuff a week or two ago. This wasn't the one that they had like 3-4 weeks ago. This was like recent.
I guess if you're getting like last weekend, that's a little tougher to justify. Like, oh, I didn't know. I mean, when you go someplace and you're the only people on the airplane, you know something's up, right?
You can't honestly like sit behind these people and back them up, say no, we didn't know. There's no
This is funny.
Just sheer stupidity or brutal, I don't give a crap.
So HBS is saying, like, how do you sharpen a pencil? And then they would say, go upstairs. You couldn't go into that room. So first, that wouldn't happen. But you couldn't go upstairs. Upstairs was even more top secret. That was development. But nobody had pencils either, I don't think. We had whiteboards everywhere. That was my first experience having like whole walls.
Markers.
Yeah, it was like my first experience having whole walls of whiteboard. That was super neat. Like when you're really, trying to come up with something and you got all kinds of, what do you call it, like strategy sessions and stuff. You got like a whole wall of whiteboard. That was pretty cool. Okay, so I got to leave them open. You guys got to hear me cough and stuff. I keep muting. I'm trying to mute both so that you don't hear me making noises.
Okay, we've heard worse.
But it's really just bonkers to hear that people are still like really not giving a crap. I mean, you don't have to be conspiracy theorists. You don't have to be an over the top nervous Nelly, but we give a shit just a little.
Right.
So these are people that probably don't give a crap or like assume it can't happen to them, or
I don't know. I really can't explain people's mindset when they act like that. I mean, no one's coming around.
Or are they intentionally trying to get somebody sick?
I don't know. These kids are sick. They just want to party, but then they don't give a shit. At the end of the day, they still have to go home. And how many, like the first spring break party, you heard maybe a dozen people get it at spring break, and then they went home. Now, at the Cabo spring break, these college kids come home, and 25 of them, 25 get home infected. So how many people are they getting infected or did get infected before they found out, right?
well, and plus wherever they were. I mean, I thought they had already stopped. I guess they haven't stopped international travel then.
I'm guessing not.
Even though they said that, hey, we're not accepting anybody from outside the country.
You think after that they'll make another or more hospital ships? Because I think we only have the two, right?
Well, we got more on the West Coast, don't we?
I don't know, but at least they're only talking about the two. We maybe have two giant ones and then others, I'm sure. But do you think they'll make more of them big ass ones though that are like, because those big ones are like aircraft carriers, aren't they?
Well, those two hospital ships already existed. They didn't make them. They already.
No, I know. I'm just saying, do you think we'll have more?
I'm building them now.
I'm just saying, do you think we'll get more in the future since they're useful? I think they're fucking neat. I'm gonna look them up, see how big
If
they are.
people are this stupid, I would expect the government to make more for future.
I'd rather have like two more of those than two more aircraft carriers, personally.
And you probably are going to take a decommissioned aircraft carrier and use it as a hospital. God knows.
Or like an old cruise ship. I'm trying to figure out now how big they are. If they look, I guess, more like a cruise ship than an aircraft carrier. Really.
I'm pretty sure there are probably cruise ship companies out there that are in using ships, losing money, who would be glad to.
Yeah, and we could just buy them.
Donated.
We can just take them, or
Yeah.
grab them and refurb. Oh no, shit! It is the size of an aircraft carrier. Look at that. Damn. I don't know. You can't see it, I guess, but it is the size of an aircraft carrier. That's cool as hell. It's literally as big as an aircraft carrier. Well,
That's pretty close. You're talking about the one in New York Harbor or the other one?
The Mercy and the Comfort are the ones that we've got.
I think you got Mercy. You got Comfort. We got Mercy, or you got Mercy. We got Comfort.
We got Comfort. You got Mercy.
Look at this one. This is a fancy one. But anyway, that definitely was what I was looking for. I was actually looking for one of those posters. You know, they have those posters that show you like the Enterprises all together, or like the Enterprise and the Serenity ship together. I wanted to say something
more
like
like
that.
giant cargo ships.
Well, but an aircraft, like I want to see all ships next to each other because the aircraft carrier is substantially bigger.
Helicopter pads.
Of course, but the aircraft carrier is substantially bigger than a cargo ship, isn't it? How big is? See, I think it might be bigger, huh? There's an aircraft carrier sitting next to here's a neat picture. No, it's regular Army boat or Navy boat sitting next to each other. Where are we going to get a picture of an aircraft carrier? They probably don't put aircraft carriers next to cargo ships for some reason.
Well, they couldn't put it next to it because it would be stand like 30 stories above it.
Yeah, more or less.
What, the aircraft carrier would be above the other thing?
It's like 30 stories tall. Trust me, you're not going to notice the other ship unless you're looking down there.
Cargo container? Like an
Yeah.
international cargo container? Nah, those are the biggest things that go. They're literally as big as the what do you call it?
It's only as big if you have it stacked with cargo. If there's no cargo on it,
Oh yeah, it looks like an
That's
empty
cool.
skateboard. Yeah.
yeah, that aircraft carrier top floor is you're going to be looking down at that.
That's a good point. But they would probably put like a bunch of cargo containers that are little hospitals into some kind of boat. You know what I mean? Like you'd make a modular thing, right?
Yeah, you can get it right. You can convert a cargo container into a hospital ship.
Oh yeah, you can fit like what what is it? Almost like 200 to 300 of those containers on the smaller one, not even the larger
No,
one.
I was gonna say way more than
It
that.
has
Yeah,
quite a few beds in there.
Right.
I would think, or something.
That's
So
quite a
put bigger,
few beds.
put some kind of containers on there. Put hospitals on there or some shit. How come I
You
can't
don't
get a
need
picture of
hospitals.
a aircraft carrier next to a cargo ship? Why is that such a hard thing to find?
I've had a picture. Would that work?
Yeah, where? Oh, over here.
I just want to Googled it. So let me.
What'd you put in here? Aircraft. Oh, I didn't put aircraft carrier.
I mean, granted, this isn't an actual
Here we
picture
go.
of them, but it's a representation of what they would look like as far as size.
Yeah, that's what
As
I
far
was
as
looking
length.
for.
So
Oh shit, an oil tanker is way bigger. So aircraft carrier is about the size of a passenger ship. So that hospital boat is about the size of a passenger ship, aircraft carrier size, and then
right.
so an oil tanker. Come on, that's way bigger. We could take like 3 or 4 oil tankers and repurpose them into hospitals, and that would work. We just solved it. We don't even have to worry about this
Or
ever happening.
the container ships, because the container ships can have more cargo.
That's what I just said. Yeah, the oil tanker. Oh yeah, no, yeah, you're right. An oil tanker is a bunch of fucking tanks. Yeah, that a container ship though. We could take an old container ship because they're making them bigger and bigger all the time.
With that, you could probably have 500 patients on one of those smaller ships, not even the bigger ships.
Oh, here's a really badass picture right here. It shows you a nuclear submarine and an aircraft carrier and an old-fashioned boat and love boat and everything all together.
Oh my god!
And a blue whale swimming around like a little minnow.
No way!
Oh, I hope Captain Stupid is included in that.
Oh, I can screen share on this one so that you guys can double screen share. Is that legal? I'm double screen sharing right now.
Yes, it is legal.
So that's the Nimitz next to some blah, 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 Viking, blah, blah, and then the Love Boat, and then some Soviet nuke and sub, and the fucking
Typhoon class. Wow.
What's his face's
The
Columbus's
Santa
boat?
Maria.
Columbus's boat. I wonder what that little thing is back there. And then the blue whale. So yeah, I would think one of these
That
things.
whale is tiny.
One of these, considering that's an actual living thing, though, that's kind of big. It even makes a blip on here. We wouldn't even see a person. But yeah, I think we can all agree. All we have to do is get a couple of these big boats, turn them into hospitals. We're done. Solved it.
You know they have like whole prison on ships, right? Like in New York, there's a whole prison.
I've seen movies about shit like that.
No, it's real. There are prisoners right now on a ship somewhere in New York in the water.
You mean it just like docked like a barge, or it travels
No,
around?
no, it's actually a working in order ship.
Like, I mean, it goes out into like it only goes out into the ocean, so you are like in Alcatraz, like even good luck, you're not going to get away even if you got away because you're just going to die in the ocean kind of thing.
Exactly.
That's
they have
scary.
those. Why they don't put those in commission or build those quickly, I don't know.
Because it probably costs shit more than a prison to have a boat.
I don't know, but they have them. They exist.
Interesting.
Oh my god, it's real. No screen share.
Who's got the siren going?
Oh, that's like 3 blocks away.
Okay.
John, is that the prison you're talking about?
What's that big thing on the side? What's that
That's a
big?
prison.
What's that big blue thing?
I'm watching the video on my phone while I talk to you guys, so I don't see the pictures updating as
It
quickly.
definitely looks like a prison or something. It's just like a big ass boat with no windows in it. Really.
Right. That's a prison ship.
I've seen there's a prison in Chicago where if you go up on top of the Sears Tower, whatever it's called now, and you look down, right? The Sears Tower has an observation deck on it. You look down from the Sears Tower. There's a prison that's a high-rise building, and that's what it looks like on top, like that part over there. That's what it looks like on top of a prison skyscraper.
There are prisons everywhere, especially in the city of New York. You have state and city prisons everywhere. They're very common, unfortunately. But they are everywhere.
Where the hell we were at with the comments over here? Trying to find it.
So what are they going to do? Move sick prisoners to the prison ship for quarantine?
No, the other way around.
Smaller prison.
Probably the other way around.
No,
Put the
if you
healthy
want-
prisoners
if you
on the
want-
ship, right? And then leave the sick ones for the where they got more resources.
No, I would say just make them room and board with each other, and make you a smaller prison population.
Well, Foss accidentally dialed 1-800-MIX-a-lot and got a chat about big butts. That's my concern is that there's too many numbers.
Well, you know, at least he cannot lie.
Now, when you go to Walmart on the Big Island, do you feel is it like a traditional or like a ceremonial thing to take one roll and wing it into the volcano? Like you take the sealed package to the volcano, you open it in front of the volcano, so it's like a virgin toilet paper bundle, and then you wing in one roll, and then you get to go down and keep the rest.
Are you climbing down the rope? Because that's not going to hold you very well down the volcano.
No, you wing it in there. Like if you're TP in the volcano, that keeps the fire going. Otherwise, that's why they got to keep throwing stuff in there. Otherwise, the fire goes out and the island will sink.
Okay, when you say climb down, you don't mean in the volcano.
No, climb down the outside.
Okay.
It's basically, here's how you think of Hawaii. You've ever seen a hot air balloon before? They have to keep putting fire in there, so otherwise the hot air, right, won't be in there, and then it won't keep the balloon in the air. It'll come down. Well, if you don't keep throwing stuff into that volcano, it'll eventually burn out, and then it'll sink because the hot air is what's keeping the thing afloat. You don't want to let the whole island sink, so you got to keep throwing stuff into that. It's like a giant forge or a giant furnace. And they don't have any trees anymore, so they got to throw virgins in there. It's a whole big
Well,
thing.
they have trees, but a lot less than they used to before the fires. You remember the fires they had over there, right?
In Hawaii?
Yeah.
I remember Australia, but I guess I don't remember the Hawaii fires. Oh no, I kind of remember. Was it from lava? When a bunch of stuff was burning.
I don't remember how it started.
I think I remember more of HVS talking about how it was squirting lava or like seeping lava, and that killed a bunch of land and made a bunch of new land. You know how it does. It makes like it squirted.
Yeah, it was recent. It wasn't that long ago.
I think that's what All right, here's the thing about the pencil. I think that's where we're at. All right, so Gary's saying it's a good idea. And then we figured out when I mute, it mutes the other thing. So basically, you can see what I'm doing. I've got StreamYard open over here. And then this is just another thing I'm doing in another browser window. And you all are just hearing them out of my speakers, basically. So there's nothing tying these two together, anything other than my speakers in this room.
Right. But the fact that even that's working, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
But the
Going back to those AOL
Thanks for
days, I keep
responding.
talking about it. I put together a room. Well, I helped put together a room like this between Tucson and Virginia, and it costs. I think it was. I don't remember. I know it was tens of thousands. I want to say 40 or 70, or they didn't care about money, so it could have been 70. I don't remember. It was tens of thousands of dollars, and that might have been on each end worth of equipment, and it wasn't anywhere near this good. It was really clunky compared to this. It was a room. I mean, it wasn't just one person or whatever, but it was not this nice. And that was in the 90s.
Sound quality over the phone is excellent.
So we're going to offload the sick onto Guam. I think that's what they're doing with that, the aircraft carrier. Is that what they're talking about? Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
Would they have 1,000 people and like hundreds of them have it or some shit? It's pretty bad.
And then they're also making a joke at Hank Johnson's expense by saying it'll capsize.
Well, that's when we're talking about Hawaii.
Which politician is saying Hawaii will capsize?
No. He said Guam would
That's some
capsize.
Democrat from Georgia.
I know it's a Democrat. I don't know where they would be from.
Something with a W.
Georgia.
Walters. Holy moly, we've been on for an hour.
We have.
You can see by how many tabs I got open that I'm in the middle of doing all kinds of stuff over here. So I'm gonna
Burning the midnight oil, man.
man, I'm doing like since nobody's going anywhere, nobody's asking me to do anything. Like I don't really, I work out of the house normally anyway, so it's not that different. But normally people ask me to do stuff. When they ask me to do stuff, it's during normal business hours usually. So nobody's asking me to do anything.
Right.
So now I've got less whatever.
Do 20 jumping jacks.
Well, I'm just saying I end up using this is about noon for me. So I basically do stuff before this show and then I do all my work after the show. Like I do stuff in the morning, do whatever I have to do before this show, before Matt's show, whatever today. Then like after this is when I start doing my work. So
So I heard, I don't know if it was Night Strikes check the other night or the chat before this, someone was talking about the other stuff in the stimulus bill. And they didn't mention this, but that group with the orchestra, Kennedy Center, I think it's called.
Yeah.
So as soon as they got that money, are you guys aware that they laid everybody off?
the
Yeah.
the $25 million for the Kennedy Center or whatever was just
Correct.
one of like the thing I saw had a list of like 8 things that were 25 million. 25 million was like a medium one. It wasn't the least and it wasn't the most. Like there was something that got 100 million and none of them were really all that applicable. Nothing was applicable to what's going on here. The one with 100 million was something like for business or something vague or something. But yeah, a couple of them were just stupid waste of money. It looked like.
This is where we should, the American people should get at the nooses. And whoever agreed to that bill to write it up.
Dude, you can't because Massey got in trouble for everybody got mad at him for suggesting that they have to keep track of who voted for it. They do not know who voted for it. The way they're doing it is Pelosi, who's the boss, gets up and says, "We have enough people here to make the vote. Raise your hands." Okay, we have enough raised hands to pass the vote. It's passed. There's nothing. If it happens to be videotaped, they'll have that as a record, but that's all they'll ever have. So if a video gets somebody raising their hand, that's the best we'll get. We'll have no idea who voted for this shit, who didn't, who was absent, who wasn't. Like the thing in Star Wars, what does she say? This is how democracy dies or something?
Yeah.
One of the first ones. But at the same time, it would happen if we didn't have a system in place that would hold everybody accountable. Hopefully we'll see the unscrupulous behavior of some of these scoundrels and in rational hindsight, people will start to.
The people in government creating a government where it doesn't hold them accountable, because every record should be made to know who voted for what. And
Sure.
they vote not to allow that.
Right.
But those are the politicians that are creating that system, which is totally destroying this country one day at a time.
A little bit at a time, for sure. Like I say, we hope it's up to us then to hold them accountable after. Or, I mean, ideally
That's
during.
why
But
I would gladly donate whatever money I have for a bunch of nuisance. Even my stimulus.
I'm down as long as we can include pitchforks.
Whatever money I get from the stimulus, if I get anything at all, I'll gladly donate that, and I will even sit down and help make the news.
So that needs to be a meme instead of the one where it's like, oh, here's my stimulus check. I bought armor and night vision. Instead, it should be like, oh, I got my stimulus check and I bought a guillotine.
Wake up, politicians! Here we come.
Yeah.
Night strike after I'm done. You can use the pitchforks all you want, my friend.
Okay. That's established.
Okay.
for haying.
After we hang them, I really
Yeah,
don't
we,
give a shit.
after we hang, we gotta poke them.
You gotta make sure they're cooked. They're fully done.
I don't
Right.
think I've only looked at aircraft carriers from like the water. I took a tour one time, like they were all in their docks or whatever they call them, where they're sitting, and you go in the water behind them, just kind of up and down the row of them all, so you get to see how big they are and everything. But that's about as close as I think I've been to one. I've been on some kind of battleship or something smaller from like World War II, just to walk around on it one time, and then I think in that one in San Diego, I think I drove past it. But is that an aircraft carrier in San Diego?
There's one in San Diego and there's one in New York.
Oh, there's aircraft carrier. Oh, I've seen it in movies. I think, huh? The one in New
But I
York.
believe in San Diego, there's also a submarine you can actually go on.
I don't know about
I've
that
been on
anymore.
the
There used to be a
USS Yorktown.
Russian.
Here in Charleston.
What?
I've been on the USS Yorktown here in Charleston. It's a little World War II aircraft carrier.
Oh, really?
They
Wooden
decommissioned
deck?
it in the 70s.
Wooden deck or metal deck? Like
No,
air-
deck.
But it's not that old.
Well, the first ones had wooden decks, right? That's when they were super old.
I don't even.
The first ones, but they retrofitted this one.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think they have like a physical one that still exists with wooden decks, right?
oh, okay. Or they might not. That's
No,
old
I
as
don't think
shit.
so.
Yeah. Plus, it wouldn't probably hold up, right? It would probably just get beat
Well,
up
the
from
wood is
landing on it.
probably so much rust. The wood would deteriorate. It would have deteriorated already.
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
But-
wood and salt water don't mix.
Yeah.
They make boats out of wood that still exist. Not a lot of them.
Yeah, but think of how much maintenance you have to do.
That's true. They take
That
them
would
apart and
be
clean
cool.
them constantly and work on them all the time. Yeah. I think I've seen
So,
something
it's like
about.
case in point, the USS Constitution. How many times have they had to overhaul that ship because it's made out of wood?
I was gonna say, yeah, I've seen shows where they basically just take it all apart and put it back together all the time. Like, the whole thing is been completely fiddled with. Like they can't leave any of it alone, really.
Well, everything is probably pressure treated and then sprayed with some kind of thing to make sure it lasts a little longer.
Okay,
Because it
so
is
then
a
I've
hot
seen the
water.
Midway, I guess. But I didn't go there. I think it costs like $80 or something to go on the Midway. And I'd have to go when it's like super nice. So I could leave the pup in the car and go on there. If it was too well, actually it's probably always kind of nice in San Diego. I guess that's the point. Huh? You got the ocean keeping it cool. This would be the time to go on a tour when there's nobody there.
Even in the middle of the summer, the dog days of summer, even San Diego does get hot.
Oh, okay. But compared to Tucson, though, for you it's hot. For me, it won't be hot. They'll probably go from 114 for me to like 90 something over there. I'll take that.
Yeah, I mean, you still don't have as much humidity, so it's definitely a lot more comfortable.
Oh, here's a thing that's been bugging me. So I follow a couple of museums on the Instagram, right? And I'm not paying that much attention to Instagram, but I fiddle with it once or twice a day. And so the museums are shut down, and I think it's the Cowboy Museum, the one in Oklahoma City.
Wyoming?
No, Oklahoma City, the Cowboy Museum, not a gun museum. It's just they have guns in it, but it's a museum for cowboys. It's mostly art, but it's also like a bunch of auditoriums. So they have like movies and events there. It's like a fancy place. Anyway, they this freaking dude is like their security guy, and I think to be like cool or whatever, they're like, okay, we're shutting the doors. And we're gonna have the security guy do our Instagram. So we just gave him the Instagram account, and we're gonna, he's there being a security guard. He's just gonna fiddle around and do funny things or whatever he's gonna do, right? And I'm like, okay, that sounds interesting. So we're gonna see what some new guy thinks is worth looking at this museum, right? But then it's like, oh, here's Tom Selleck. Like, here's some other guy from a movie. Here's some other guy, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? All of us are on lockdown, and all these celebrities are just taking fucking private tours of museums everywhere. Like, what the fuck? Pissing me off. Like it was for like a week there. Every time I clicked onto it, some new celebrities being on a private tour of the damn museum. So is that this whole thing? This was just like, hey, we all want our rides. We're sick of all the regular people taking up lines everywhere. Like we're going to take the month of April and just be able to go everywhere without blinds. All the rich people, they just shut everybody else down.
March and April.
Well, March was getting everybody ready, make sure it would work. Now they're getting all their plans together and they're driving to wherever they're going. So they got the whole month of April.
Right.
Like, how about the regular people don't take vacations in April, and we'll just keep April for the good people. All right, well, I guess that killed the chat. People don't like to think about how the rich people have more access than us.
No, it's kind of a downer, man.
I want to cough, but I got to mute.
Justin Grimm is saying Midway is in San Diego. He toured the Iowa in San Pedro, California. Being raised in Iowa, it was a childhood dream.
I don't know where San Pedro is, and that must be another kind of boat because I don't think it's an aircraft carrier also.
No, the Iowa's battleship. I believe.
Well, I am gonna bounce.
Right on. Well, thanks for helping out with testing out the chamber, the pager version of the chamber, the changer.
It works really well and it's very clear. So
The
good job
changer.
last
Thank you.
time. I'll be listening.
Thanks for testing.
Thanks for making it available. Talk to you guys later, all right?
Be safe out there. Thanks for the insight and whatever. We'll talk to you later.
Yeah, you guys be safe too. Okay, stay well. Yep, same thing with me, guys. I'm gonna bounce out of here to go get chow. Appreciate you having me on, and hope y'all take care of yourselves, all right?
Right on. Thanks for jumping in.
Yep, you're welcome, Jimmy.
Yeah, because that'll also, it's neat to see that we're going to let other people in who don't feel like, setting up a computer or doing all this crap on their phone or whatever. They can just use their telephone and make the call. That's pretty cool.
Right. If you need to interview someone and they're not that technical, they can just call in. You can do the interview like that over the phone.
Iowa class, last four of our battleships. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's the Iowa and there's the one in Pearl Harbor. I don't remember which one that was. That's the what is that?
Oh, dude, you know what? I didn't even think about this, but John, if you're still listening, they're probably okay with it. Just go back up to the castle and spend their time in the castle. That way you get your nice social distance. You get to hang out in a castle, bring a bunch of food with you. And then whenever you need something, just get an Uber boat to bring it over to you. They must have Uber boats, Uber boat delivery. How cool would it be to spend your Aprilcation, your Coronacation? Is that a thing? Did I just create a thing?
I think you did just create a thing.
You'd take your Coronacation at a castle you'd be in New York. That would be scary. But you'd be on an island, in a castle, on an island, in a river. So it'd be pretty hard for somebody to pop on.
I've seen that island, and that island is pretty scary at night.
Well, that's why it exists, because it's haunted or whatever. Nobody wanted to own it for a long time. It's I don't want to call it scary, but it would be yours. Nobody's going to swim out there, I don't think. And you could defend it pretty easy. Yeah, that would be actually pretty awesome. We need to figure out how to buy that freaking island and turn it into kind of world headquarters of something.
If we could get enough pictures of the castle, it'd be nice to rebuild the castle.
I guess. I don't know if I'm that attached to it because it was clunky. It wasn't the coolest castle. It was really just a big warehouse, and he made it look like a castle on the outside. So it wasn't like
You
the
built a
coolest.
warehouse.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're going to redo it nowadays, I think I would put more effort into it. It would basically just be like 5 big rooms that looked like a castle on the outside. It would be kind of boring on the inside. But yeah, putting it back to its some sort of whatever. I mean, there's the foundations and everything there. That probably is still good, or at least parts of it are still good. The problem is he was on the cheap, so what was it? He mixed gunpowder in with the cement for some reason. He thought that would make it better or something. I think that was the story. So I don't know, it's something he did with the cement. The cement isn't good. That's why the castle's falling apart. It's not because it's earthquakes or anything. It's just the cement itself wasn't great. It started to physically not hold the weight anymore after a while. And then it caught fire twice. That didn't help nothing. He built the floors out of he bought barges we would buy old barges made out of that creosote wood and metal or whatever, and then bring them up there and sink them in order to make the walls, the underwater walls that made the little breakwater for his island, because he owned the island and a bunch of the water around it. So he would bring the barges out there, sink them, fill them with rocks, basically sink them, and that would create a wall under the water. He would just keep stacking them on each other like that. But he would take the wood out of them first. So they'd have all this wood with creosote in it, like railroad ties with creosote, basically. And that's what he used for the floors of his castle. So like when they burned, it was like a massive fire waiting to happen. Yeah, it was horrible. I can't remember what it was. I know it was old concrete that he got cheap from Europe. But then I think some story that I read somewhere is he mixed gunpowder or something into it, thinking that was somehow going to do something. And it turned out in the long run. I mean, it worked for a while. It just turned out in the long run to not be the best way to go. Because obviously, and then I'm sure it got screwed with when you catch a bunch of gunpowder concrete on fire twice. That can't help nothing. And that wasn't it caught fire, but we put it out in 20 minutes. That's like the whole thing gutted out and it just burned. Like nothing was there to stop it. And the first time it exploded, literally the gunpowder exploded. So that was just plain old ordnance exploding, like bombs made to explode, exploding. Like you can't do nothing worse than that. You create stuff to explode and then you let it explode. Like that's going to cause damage. And it did. Ripped half the building down. But the second time it burned, there was stuff there. There was like a whole bunch of stuff in the building and it burned.
This is supposedly what it looked like in 1926.
Yeah. And that would have been pre-first explosion, because that building on that thing on the right, there's the main building and there's the second, the front part looks a little bit lower than the back part. That part to the right that looks like a separate roof, that was where all the gunpowder was, and that was the first thing to explode, probably really close to when this picture was taken, because you don't see very many pictures that are that nice.
Yeah. So this is what the Bannerman Island Arsenal looked like.
So all of those things going out into the water, that's just a whole shit ton of barges that he would take out, sink them, take them out, fill them with rocks, sink them, take them out, fill them with rocks, sink them, until they made those walls. Kind of neat.
Yeah.
There was all kinds of cannons and shit. You had all kinds of stuff. So pretty neat. So now you go out there and because of erosion and stuff, those breakwaters aren't busting through the water anymore. They're like underwater for the most part. Just a couple of the highest parts are out of the water. So all those trees and stuff are gone. It sucks. Boeing has been taking a dump and not selling planes. Airbus is shut down. That's most of our business. Besides, I see what you're saying. That probably is something, when you talk like Matt and them, I don't know, were you listening to Matt's Mope and Glope chat earlier? Moon and Gloom?
I was there for a little bit, then I jumped out for real calls.
They were saying about how restaurants and stuff are going to go out of business. And they definitely are going out of business. I'm not saying they ain't, but, that's just fast forward. Have you ever played Sim City, right? Like you can play Sim City at regular speed, but you can play it at fast forward if you want. And that's just the coming and going. Like restaurants come and go. So restaurant people losing their job, yeah, that sucks for a minute. But then somebody else comes up with another restaurant in that same location and then hires a bunch of people. So sometimes those same people don't get the job. But in economy wise, like there's always going to be a restaurant there. There's going to be some jobs. It's just they shift, I guess. You know, who owns the restaurant or what the restaurant is. You know, if it's a nail salon or if it's a hair salon or if it's a hair cutting place or if it's a barber shop or if it's a, you know, like that kind of stuff changes. But there's always somebody doing something at some level and somebody employing somebody at some level, right? So that kind of stuff, I think we'll see difference when it bounces back, but it'll all bounce back to be similar to what it was before, right?
Right.
Um,
So,
oh, I see. They're talking about getting the kick to the curb. So yeah, we're basically on the first. So it's going to be a crazy, crazy, crazy month. And who knows how stir crazy people will be, how ambitious and how entrepreneurial, how collaborative, how positive or how negative or how gloomy and moopy people are going to be. But I'm thinking I've thought about doing some sort of a course or some sort of workshop again. I hate to call it a course because I don't know what level people are at. And I don't know what goals people are even achieving.
I think workshop is better because that implies you need the least amount of knowledge to jump into it.
Well, and I figure it's like the least amount or the most, incorporate the most amount of potential. Because, if we said, for example, we're going to talk about Photoshop, well, only so certain people care about Photoshop. Or if we said we're going to talk about video editing, again, only certain people. And if we said anything, we're only going to get that slice. So if we just say we're going to open up a time to bring coaches and mentors together with people seeking info, that could be a thing. But I don't know. I've been trying that for so long. I definitely need some feedback on that. So there's only 15 people watching now, but again, these are the 15 people that watch this kind of stuff. So let me know if it's worth devoting time into that. Like I said, I've kind of had my head into this project that I'm working on now. I can't say how far I'm into it. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm about 30% into it, just to be fair. Although it might go faster. It's hard to say sometimes when you turn a corner and all of a sudden you figure out you're done, but you thought you had a lot more to go. I guess on the flip side, every once in a while you turn a corner and you figure out, oh snap, there's a lot more to go than I even anticipated. Right now, I think I can see the end of a tunnel, but I am open for figuring this out. So I wish I could be more specific, but basically, I'm working on the 2A history thing and it's just a big mess right now. I'm sort of, I took a big bite again, another big bite out of, what I could do or what could be done. And I'm churning that data. So once I get it closer to being something that I can show you to you, and we'll chat about it. But until then, I think I'll wrap up. I'll thank the people for jumping in and hanging with us for 90 minutes tonight. We had a short one yesterday, and again, it's just I'm kind of, my mind's distracted here. I'm multitasking, and it's frustrating because I literally would like to get back on this and just finish it already. So I'm not even at that point, actually. I just want to get back in and dig into it some more. It's been kind of fun. So with that, I guess we will say thanks again for the people that show up and hopefully gave you a time to chat, catch up. I know I certainly enjoy the different chats, especially in times like this, right? To hang out, see people I know, I'm familiar with. Having conversations gives you a really good finger on the pulse, right? A really good idea of what the stress levels are out there. So thanks people that show up and participate in these things. It is going to be a crazy month. So hold on. Look forward to it and be back to pick you up later. It's always tough to end these things. So many things to say.